Hello YouTube. So I think it's time to update some charts because of this big liquidation event. It obviously changed some things, not really a whole lot, honestly, but we're starting with Bitcoin. And obviously this distribution pattern is still in play. Now I did watch Camel Finance video and he talked about how you need to match volume profiles with Wyckoff, and that's true, but volume is obviously going to be different on different charts. So as you can see here, for instance, on Bitfinex chart, this looks almost like accumulation because you have increased volumes at the lows and decreasing volume at the highs. Similar thing here. But if we move to, for instance, the Bitstamp chart, you have increased volumes at the highs, you have volume going down at the lows, comes up again at the highs, comes down at the lows, and then it comes up again here. And it's the same thing if you look at Binance. You have higher volume as price goes up, then volume comes down near the lows, it comes up again during the highs, and then it comes down during these lows, it comes up again here, this high, and now it's low again. So volume, obviously, it depends on what chart you look at. It's obviously going to be different on different exchanges. So to me, both scenarios are on the table. Now, in terms of the sort of the bullish scenarios, you could obviously, like, pretty much the only way I could imagine this is, I don't like, I've seen this count, I don't really like this 4 and this very, very truncated 5th wave. And then if this is going to be the wave 2, I would like to see this wick fill, because into the end of the month. However, that would shift the trend on the cycles. So I don't really see the bullish count at the moment. Let's see here, 1, if that's the first wave, 2, 1. I mean, it could be like a series of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, but I don't know. I have a very hard time seeing like a bullish Elliott wave structure. It's going to lead to a breakout, but if we get a breakout, we get a breakout, and I will have to try to figure out, because I don't like this structure at all. If it comes down and fills this wick, it would look a lot better in terms of Elliott wave, but in terms of cycles, it would look horrible. So yeah, I'm kind of torn what's going on here. However, on a good note, we can look at some alts. So Ethereum, and I'm not going to talk much about the individual price action on Ethereum. See if I can readjust the targets a bit. Yeah, so now the target is somewhere up there. But let's look at Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance, it broke above the 60, immediately was pushed down below it, and we had this very nice wick here on the weekly with very high volume. It's the highest, almost. This candle is the same volume, super high volume that pushed this candle down. If we had gotten a big candle body here on this amount of volume, then yes, the trend would have shifted. But now, because we have this big topping wick with this high volume, to me it speaks rotation, because you can look at, for instance, Ethereum dominance, which has the opposite. You have a big bottoming wick here on very high volume. So I think Ethereum looks good from here, from this standpoint, because capital obviously moved during this liquidation event from Bitcoin into Ethereum, and that to me speaks for continuation down on this chart. So I think the bull market is still on, even though I don't really see how Bitcoin could go ballistic from here in terms of like Elliott wave structure. ADA got a massive wick all the way down, taking liquidity all the way at this low. Right now is coming up and rejecting off the 200 SMA, which is a good sign to be careful. Of course, if we are going to get an alt season, I would like to see, of course, this reverse and just take all the liquidity on the upside now, after we've taken all the liquidity on the downside. But because we're rejecting here, seeing resistance, you need to be careful. Of course, this could be a trap, but it's always good to be cautious. And again, you don't use leverage on altcoins, like, because of this. It's the wrong market to use leverage in. If the 10th of October didn't teach you that, then I don't know. Now Acash, we can look at some different charts here. We did hit the 60-cent range, which I talked about, that if we broke below, we would get there, and we did. Not on this chart, but on the Kraken chart we did hit this zone here. So I'd say the correction is, because that is a very strong support zone, so I'd say the correction could be over. Of course, can never be 100% certain with small caps. You always gotta be careful, but this triangle broke to the downside, it hit target, and we are technically ready to reverse up from here. Now what we want to see on Acash is that we close the monthly above 80 cents. Because we have a strong support here, and if we close at that support and then we get a green November, then that was probably the low. This was just a liquidity grab, and we are ready to reverse. If not, we're probably going down to this monthly support. But yeah, we'll see November. Now Core got the nastiest freaking wick all the way down to 10 cents. So this went what, like negative 72% in a couple of hours. And yeah, I said previously that if we close below these lows, there's nothing bullish left, and I probably have to take that back, because there's still, of course, is other scenarios. This could not be a triangle anymore. The triangle is invalidated, but it could be an ABC, which we hit target. So A, B, C, and I don't know if you're gonna count this as a way1 or if you're just starting off with a corrective move down, and we're now ready to impulse. Obviously hard to tell with small caps. So as you can see here, this is the total value locked, priced in core. You can see that after this sell-off on the 10th of October, we immediately went up and went higher. So there is more core locked now than there was before the dump, which is obviously a divergence because the price is still down here. So someone bought the dip and staked it. And if you look at the USD price, you can see here that I think this will eventually reflect what's going on in the actual. Also, you can see here that all of the liquidity sits above. There's still some below, so we might short term we might sweep these lows, but overall the majority of the liquidity sits above, so there is still bullish potential. However, the chart is obviously very beaten down at the moment, and since there is a lot of institutions involved in this project, I believe that there is of course still bullish potential, but price obviously needs to prove itself, and I think the first step to proving itself is to reclaim this previous bottom range, which is around like 33 cents. So short term, I think that we might actually push up here and reject off of this low here, and in a bullish scenario that would fuel shorts. If we come up, let me show you. And so if we come up, price comes up like this, rejects here, comes back down, then a lot of shorts will open up here, and then we reverse. That would be the bullish sort of scenario. There is of course bearish potential that we come down, fill this wick into the 4-year cycle low, and then from there we reverse. So yeah, price needs to prove itself, but I think under the hood, fundamentally, everything still looks good. And yeah, that's my thoughts for Bitcoin. For Bitcoin, I don't really have a lot of thoughts apparently. To me, it still looks to be in distribution, but if we get a breakout, we get a breakout. And I think the most bullish chart in terms of continuation in euphoria and alt season is the Bitcoin dominance chart, which is pointing, in my eyes, straight down. And let's see here, others to ETH. If you don't look at this big wick here, we are currently bouncing at the 88.6 retracement. So this could be a reversal zone for alts to take over, unless we break below this low, of course. Then that signals ETH probably continues to be the leader for a bit longer. But yeah, a liquidity cleanse is always good for the markets, especially in an uptrend. If we grab long liquidity in an uptrend, that's always good going forward. So I remain bullish and sort of neutral overall. Anyways, thank you for watching. Bye.